That's it. We're
Hello and
live.
good evening. We're live. So you're probably wondering who the mystery voice is. It's Linda. Tonight's been a fun night to start with. My camera won't work, but I am hosting in place of Tina. So just picture Tina in all her loveliness, and you get my voice. But we're excited to be here tonight, and we did our first crowdsourcing for a destination. So we have Matt talking to us about the Panama Canal, which was the number one pick from everybody as far as which destination they'd like us to talk about this week. So we're excited for that. And the other really timely topic that we're going to be talking about is travel insurance. And I'm sure in the last little while, there's been WestJet problems, there's been Air Canada worries, you know, Matt was almost in a hurricane. So there's lots of good reasons to get travel insurance. And Lisa is going to guide you through that and tell you all about travel insurance, why you need it, what it does, what it covers. She is our resident expert. And then we have Karen and Rick along as well. So when we get to the Q&A, we'll have a great panel here to answer your questions at the end. Make sure that you drop them into the comments section, and we'll answer any questions either after the presentation if it's specific to that, or during the Q&A at the end. And also when you comment with where you're from and say hi, we'll put you in the draw for the giveaway. So now that I got through all that, without further ado, I'm going to pass this on to Matt, who's going to fill you in on Panama Canal.
All right. I'm just seeing if I can click the screen because right now I don't have the ability to change slides.
Ooh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I'm going to change them for you.
All right.
It's one of those nights.
Yep. All right. We just adjust and roll on. Okay, so yeah, as Linda already alluded to, I'm going to talk about the Panama Canal. It comes as no surprise whatsoever, to me at least, that when we gave you the option to vote on the destination you wanted us to talk about, that Panama Canal won the vote, and for good reason. This is an engineering marvel, and the fact that you can cruise through it just makes it that much more of an attractive, not only destination, but just something to witness firsthand as you pass through these. I'm very fortunate that I live in the Niagara region and we have our own lock system right here in our backyard. So I get to see this type of engineering marvel all the time with our Niagara waterway going into the St. Lawrence. So we're very fortunate here as well in Canada that we have something similar to compare it to. But obviously there is, a much longer stretch with the Panama Canal, and the reality that you can actually cruise through it on some of these larger ships is just like amazing to see and to experience. So that's what we're going to cover. So if we could just slide on over to the next slide. There we go. So the first question that everybody always wants to know is, when is the best time to go? So because the locks have operations throughout the year, so really it comes down to the seasonal weather of Central America and where you're going to visit. So ideally, that best window of time to go is after November, because you're going to have that rainy season once you get outside of April through November. You're going to once you hit May, you're going to start hitting the more rainy seasons for Central America. So the ideal time, that perfect window, if you will, would be from January through March. That's when you're going to have that dry season. Before we start to get into April, you start to see that shift in the weather, and ideally January to start. So we would say December onward, but really January is where you're going to hit that sweet spot. So January through March is typically the most popular time that you would want to visit the Panama Canal and the associated cruise ports that typically tie into those types of itineraries. The next slide. So when it comes to the Panama Canal and cruising through it, there is two types of versions when it comes to the Panama Canal cruises. So there is a partial cruise that you can do, or you can do the full transit. So the full transit is more along the lines with a repositioning cruise. So you're going from one location to the other location. You're not doing sort of a round trip sailing. And so you're going to do the full transit going right through all of the locks, passing right through. And on average, we're looking at about 8 to 10 hours of doing this. So constant level changes as you go through each section of the Panama Canal, where you have to fill the water line up, transit through the lock. Then they're going to drain the one behind it, fill the next one up, open the doors, in you go again through this process over and over again. And it really is impressive to just watch all of the work that has to go into this. And you can see in that photo right there with the Coral Princess passing through there, you can see those tracks of the work that has to go alongside with this. Those little carts that you see on the tracks, they're known as mules. So they help with the navigation of getting those ships to pass through there safely so that they're not damaged. Because I mean, there's not a lot of give and take on either side of the ship in order for these to pass through. And we'll get into like the old locks versus the new locks, which ties into the size of the ship and how they can actually pass through the canal. So if you do the partial one, then you're only going to go halfway. You're going to do a turnaround point at Gatun Lake, and that's where you're going to turn around and head back, and then you're going to sail on to Cologne is usually the port destination after that, because you haven't used as much time in the canal transiting through the locks. So they want to still be able to highlight one of the premier port locations in Panama, which would be Cologne. So you would transit through the canal, do your partial sailing, come back out, and then stop in Cologne, and you would have a later afternoon, evening in that same day of sailing in Cologne. So typically when you see the itineraries from the different cruise lines, if you see it like that, where it says that you're cruising through the Panama Canal and then visiting Cologne, you know right away you're going into a partial transit through the canal, as opposed to a full sailing where you're going to a whole different destination. Next slide. So who sails there? Everybody. That's the easy answer. Like I didn't have enough room on the slide. I could have just kept slapping logos on there. But the good news is we sell all of them. So everything you see on there, we can offer you every single one of those cruise lines. And again, talking about whether it's a partial transit or full transit, whether it is the new locks or the old locks, depending on the ship and the itinerary, some of these cruise lines offer both. So that's where you can have a little bit of flexibility in what is it you want to do. Do you want to have the full Panama Canal experience? You want to do the full transit and go right through there, spend the 8 to 10 hours being able to see this engineering marvel in all its wonder? Then yes, you're going to look for that full transit. You talk to your cruise specialist with Vacations for Canadians, and you tell them that you want to do the full transit, and then we will work with you on the different cruise lines that offer those full sailings. Depending on the cruise line and the time of year and the budget that you're looking for, we can find all those because we know which ones offer which, whether it is a full transit, partial transit, new locks or old locks. And we can normally tell that just by the ship, and through Cruise Mapper and different programs that are out there, we can tell which locks it's going through and also what type of sailing it is. So really it comes down to yourselves and whether you want to do the full or partial, whether you want to do the new locks or old locks, and just what your price point is on the sailing. Because when it comes to an engineering marvel like this, where the destination is the premier attraction, it's not necessarily the cruise ship, but more about the destinations that you're going to, then maybe you have a little bit of leeway with going lower in category of cabin. Because to be honest, you can see all the people on the top deck there on the NCL Jewel. They're all flooding up to the roof so that they get to see the full spectrum of everything that goes into this, as opposed to, that narrower vantage point that would come from your balcony per se. So that's where you can have a little bit of give in maybe the room category that you have, in order to be able to still be able to afford a full transit on one of these longer sailings. It's going to be typically like a 14-day cruise to get you through there and still be able to offer you ports on the bookends of that sailing itinerary. So I wanted to put that out there just so that everybody can see there is a plethora of choices, and from different cruise styles as well. So, I mean, we have river cruise ships with Viking. Okay, you have oceanic cruises, Azamara. So you have some flexibility. It's not just the contemporary lines or the premium lines. We get into luxury lines. We have river cruise lines. So there is a multitude of options there. And I mean, especially tying into our partner supplier with Azamara right now, what better time to shop for a Panama Canal cruise than right now when we have all these great promotions going on with Azamara, for instance. Next slide. So, can't be remiss. I couldn't be going through this presentation without doing a little bit of self-promotion. So even with Vacations for Canadians, we typically try to pick our hosted cruises based on destinations, something that we know is going to generate a lot of interest so that we can bring a lot of our clients on board with us and go through that sailing experience with us. So, of course, with Tina being gone away in Africa, she was very kind to share with me some of her photos from the Panama Canal. She didn't tell me when she sent them to me how long ago the photos were taken, but I took that album that she shared with me, and when I found this gem, I just had to share it for everybody to just not only show the track of the old canal locks, so you can see the rail tracks there for the mules. You can see some of the mules in the background, so that's a great opportunity to see all of the work that goes into this to safely transit through the locks, but also to see just how happy Tina is to be on this cruise, that giant smile on her face. So if you go on a hosted cruise with Tina on the Panama Canal, this is what you get to see. You get to see the beautiful locks, but you also get to see that bright smiley face of Tina, who is going to be hosting this cruise, taking people through the Panama Canal. Now, of course, the cruise that we're talking about is on the Celebrity Beyond. So this is one of those bigger ships. So for Tina, this will be great because she cruised through the old locks before. The Celebrity Beyond, being a bigger ship, is going to go through the new locks. So she'll get to experience that. But again, talking about the ports that it goes to, Cartagena in Colombia, Cologne after it's done its halfway turn and has come back out of the canal. So it'll visit Cologne and then it still hits the ABC Islands. So this is an incredible itinerary to be able to go to the Panama Canal, but also to get to see the ABC Islands in the same sailing. Sails round trip out of Fort Lauderdale for anybody who is interested in that. And you can see the dates on there. The big thing about this is that we only have our group space until the 27th of September. So that date is quickly approaching. And with this sailing, most of the cabin categories are already sold out with Celebrity. So what is left is what we have in group space. So if you are interested in the Panama Canal, then I had to mention this just because when we hear that you guys have this much interest in the Panama Canal, why wouldn't we take the opportunity to tell you that you could be sailing with Tina on that exact itinerary in just a few months' time? Let's slide over to the next slide. So why is it popular? Well, just talking about it being such an engineering marvel in itself is just so much to see. Again, you can see the tracks there with the mules. With the new locks, they also have to employ a tugboat that guides them through there. On one of the earlier slides, it was a Disney ship that was coming through the locks. And you can see the tugboat was pulling them through there. Again, all just for safety measures. These brand new, beautiful ships that are passing through there, they need that extra control measures in place so that they can get them safely through the canal without damaging the ships and damaging the canal. So whether you're going eastbound or westbound, you're going to hit all kinds of amazing ports, just like the ones that I discussed on the previous slide with our itinerary for the hosted sailing, where there's all kinds of fantastic opportunities for shopping, the excursions, especially some of the Panama Canal cruises stop in Costa Rica. And for anybody who's been in Costa Rica, there are so many different opportunities for shore excursions there, from everything from just low level intensity shopping and city tours and beaches and things like that to like zip lining through the rainforest, like going on ATVs and things like that. Like there is an abundance of shore excursions in Costa Rica, and I've had the luxury of visiting there during my cruise and being able to do some of that and just zip lining through the rainforest with my GoPro out in my hand as I spun around on the zip line shooting through the rainforest it was just mind blowing. And then of course you're still hitting the Caribbean, so why not enjoy a fruity beverage? But But of course, the real draw to this is just the marvel that is the Panama Canal. So obviously that's why it is so popular. And there really are those engineering, like, they really want to see this in person. They want to be able to witness it. And in line with that, a lot of the cruise lines bring experts, engineering experts, onto the ship who give these amazing presentations prior to your cruise through the canal, so that they can give you some of the history about how it was built, and just how this marvel is operated, all the workings that go into opening and closing those. And so it's really interesting to sit in on any of those conversations that they have with the experts on board, similar to if you go to one of the itineraries like Alaska or something, where they bring in the naturalist experts that can talk about the environment in Alaska and the wildlife and everything like that. Same sort of concept with this. You're going to have those experts that are going to be on board, who are going to be able to talk about the engineering marvel that goes into the Panama Canal and how it functions. And it really is just a great educational experience. But at the same time, then being able to see it in person, it just really ties it all together real nice. And at the same time, you're still on a cruise. So it just works out so well on many different levels. Next slide, please. So that's where I was talking about the old locks versus the new locks. Differences for them, the size matters. Yeah. When you talk about the size of the ship, that can dictate whether it needs to be in the old locks or the new locks. So that's where you'll be able to see, just on the cruise mapper, they will allocate which laneway that they're passing through for the different cruise lines. So if you are very specific on wanting to be able to see the original locks and see the old ones, as you see in the pictures here, then that is just something that we have to take into consideration when we're looking at the ships that are going to be sailing to these, because that will be a good indicator of whether it's going to be in the old locks and the new locks. Now, that isn't set in stone, because water levels can dictate this. And depending on the water levels, they may have to use the new locks instead of the old locks, just because there are less gateways and less locks for them to pass through. So it can minimize the water impact and control the water levels better. So when it comes to deciding on them, there may be a shift in the itinerary where you were scheduled to go through the old locks, but due to a drought, then the water level's lower, and we have to have a control mechanism for the water levels. So we'll put you into the new locks, because we can control the water levels a little easier because we have less locks to pass through. The tugboat assistance, I talked about that with the new lock system. With the new lock systems, it's just an added control measure for when the ships are passing through there, especially if it is those smaller ships that are going through a larger lock system. If they're going through a larger lock system, there's more room for error. So they have those mules, like you see in the picture here, that go along the side. They have the hinge lines tied off to them, so they can control the side to side. But you also have that tugboat on the front to control the nose swerving from side to side as well. So a lot of control measures put in place to make sure that that ship stays perfectly straight passing through the locks. And as I mentioned before, so like no more than 32 ships, and this is allocated by the government, no more than 32 ships per day, which seems like a lot, but it's not all cruise ships, because the main design for these lock systems was to be able to have freight pass through the lock system. So that has to be taken into consideration when we're talking about our numbers. So it's not all cruise lines that are shipping through there. The freight gets priority, and then the cruise lines have to work around that scheduling of all those different freight liners that are passing through there when they dictate their itineraries on when they're going to pass through. And that can also move a smaller cruise line, per se, over to a new lock, because the freight are given the priority of the old lock system. So just things to take into consideration when you're planning your cruise and you want to go to the Panama Canal and you're really set on seeing the old locks. We'll do everything we can to try and line up the right itinerary and the right ship for you so that you can get the cruise that you're looking for. However, there are these factors that still play in that are beyond our control that may impact your sailing. Next slide. There we go. That's it for me. Wow. So just to wrap up, I just want to say that, like, obviously this is a premier destination. There's no surprise at all why you guys picked it, and I'm happy that you did, and that it gave me the opportunity to talk about it. You can clearly tell by my excitement that I love talking about the Panama Canal, and being able to share that information with our guests. Like I highlighted, all the cruise lines have some sort of option, whether it be a partial, whether it be a full transit, whether it be the new locks or the old locks. There's lots of varieties that are out there. So you just really got to be specific with yourself, first and foremost, on what type of experience you're looking to get from that sailing. And then we can help navigate you through the right cruise line to make sure that we get that experience that you're looking for. And then with that, I can't tell you how excited I am for Lisa's presentation, because I myself, as Linda mentioned, just got out of that crazy hurricane where I didn't have travel insurance. And I was like, for all the times that I tell everybody that they got to have travel insurance, here I am now with flights canceled and hotels needing to be rebooked and not knowing where I'm going and when I'm going, with the incoming weather and how that can play into impacting your travel. So I am just as much a student of this presentation as everyone else. And I, for one, want to thank Lisa for doing this, because I know that we had to kind of talk her into it, but I'm so glad that she's here and doing it for us.
Thank you so much, Matt. And that was a fantastic presentation. I'm actually super excited to go to the Panama Canal now. So, hi, everyone, and thank you so much for joining me this evening to talk about the most exciting part of your trip planning, travel insurance. Wah! Travel insurance is so important to protect your travel plans, and most people decline it so quickly. Hard no, don't want it, don't want to pay for it, and without understanding the benefits or what it fully means. Your travel plans are expensive, and your hard-earned money needs to be protected should something stop you from being able to travel, or if you're sick or have issues after you leave home, or at the start of your trip, or before you're able to get back home. Protecting your trip with insurance should be factored into your budget while planning your travels. So to start off, the best time to purchase your travel insurance is within 72 hours of making your deposit. This will always ensure that you will receive the best policy available, and it will also mean the best coverage. Most times, and I've done this so many times over and over, most times it even means better coverage for less cost. So that's always a benefit to you. If you do miss this window, that is totally okay. You can still purchase insurance. You can purchase cancellation insurance. You can purchase medical insurance. The coverage is just going to be slightly different. For the premium protection plan, as you can see on your screen, the 72-hour window allows you to make the most of your cancel for any reason clause. You will get 80% of the value of the non-refundable cost of your trip refunded up until travel, or on the all-inclusive plan or the non-medical all-inclusive plan, which is also on your screen. It gives you 50% up until 2 weeks of travel. It is very important to note that on cancellation insurance, for those unexpected times, the cancellation only works on unknown events. So if you know of something and then suddenly you think, oh, I'm going to go and buy my cancellation insurance, it doesn't work that way. And they will do a thorough research to kind of find out the timelines of everything. So that's why it's always best to purchase as soon as you put your deposit down. So that's where the cancel for any reason comes into play. And it is very important to add that on within 72 hours. So that's kind of covering the cancel for any reason, but some of our cruise partners also offer insurance. Each of the providers' protection is very, very different. So it's important to review each and every single plan, and I am here to help to do any comparisons with you, and we will pick the thing that's best for you and your sailing. So it's important to review all the terms and conditions to determine if you'd be eligible for a refund. A lot of the cruise ships protection plans will offer you a travel credit. So you may or may not want that. Travel protection insurance that you purchase separately always will be a full refund to you. So a lot of the plans with the cruise ships also, they do not include travel interruption, out of country emergency medical baggage loss, or any other types of insurance. So if you have an accident, anything like that usually is not covered by the cruise ship's insurance plans. But again, we will do a good compare and we'll find out what is best for you and your sailing and your situation. So this is why we have partnered with Manulife Financial. So let's talk a little bit about the types of insurance available. Number one, we have cancellation insurance. This will cover you from the time that you purchase your policy for your trip up until the minute you leave your home to start your trip. Cancellation insurance is based on the cost of your trip and the age at the time of purchase. So one thing I always like to tell people, if you are sailing in 2 years and you purchase your insurance now, you're basically holding the cost of insurance. Insurance goes up with every single year and every age. So hold that cost, purchase it now, saves you some dollars down the line. So this covers you for, the cancellation insurance covers you for anything unforeseen and unexpected, and allows you to be able to submit a claim for the full amount of your non-refundable trip cost for 27 reasons. When I say non-refundable, that means that taxes are refundable. Any cruise fees that you see on your invoices, those are all refundable from the cruise line and from anything else. So we don't insure those. There's no point in paying money to put money up for insurance when you don't need it. So with the insurance, there are 27 reasons. Some examples are sickness. If you or your travel partner or immediate family, for example, sorry, I just lost my train there. If you have the premium protection plan or purchase an all-inclusive or non-medical inclusive plan within 72 hours of deposit, if you needed to cancel for any reason other than the 27 reasons, and again, I am happy to go over the 27 reasons. Some good examples are the sickness of you or your travel partner. If you have somebody in your immediate family, anything like that, if there's a death in the immediate family or your travel partner. We have a lot of people that are going on a trip and they aren't sure if their parents are going to be in the best health at that time. So that would not be anything that you would know about. It's buying insurance just in case something happens, which is really key, and that's a really good kind of feature of the plan. So if for some reason you purchase your insurance and you do purchase it within the 72 hours, you get canceled for any reason, whether it's the premium protection plan, or, as you can see on the slide, the all-inclusive or non-medical inclusive. So you can purchase and get the cancel for any reason. Amazing feature, Manulife has it, and it's on only these 3 plans. So important to remember, no note events will be covered. So then on top of the cancellation,
Lisa, if you can hear me, I think you muted yourself because I can no longer. There you go.
Can you hear me now?
Yep.
Okay, where did we end off? At welcome to the presentation? Okay, so then we have trip interruption and misconnection insurance. So that's insurance that's included with the premium protection plan or with your all-inclusive or non-medical inclusive. So trip interruption is kind of misunderstood a lot of times. The misconnection insurance, not really fully understood. So this insurance kicks in as soon as the cancellation insurance is ended. So cancellation insurance is before you cruise, trip interruption, misconnection, as soon as you leave your house and right before you get home. So to the second you get back home. So some examples of what you would claim under the trip interruption would be, so say you're driving to the airport, you get in a car accident and you miss your flight. Okay, so that would be totally covered. Your flight has been delayed, you miss your cruise, then you're covered for your cruise. Your flight has been canceled. So again, that it all circles back to the Air Canada situation that just happened. And we're extremely lucky because, as we all know, we're not going on strike anymore. However, there are tons of people who were very, very, very panicked about that and worried, and it could have really interrupted a lot of trips. Thank goodness it didn't happen. So another thing is any meals, hotels, and transportation needed due to a delay or cancellation. That's all covered. And if your airline doesn't have a new flight that works for you and you need to book another flight on another airline, that's all covered. And the best part is that all you have to do is keep your receipts and send them into Manulife, and it is so easy, and you get reimbursed right away. And the most important part that does really center around the cruise industry and us is if you lose any part of your land or cruise that you have covered, the pro-rated amount of your trip for the lost portion will be refunded if you don't get to enjoy your entire cruise. And then if there's emergency at home that you need to leave your trip early to get home, all of these things we don't think about until we're away and we have to worry about them. And if you don't have trip interruption coverage, then all these expenses are coming out of your own pocket in case you experience an interruption. Also, as part of the benefit, Manulife also has flight assist, which right away when you call Manulife and you just let them know, you don't have to call them. They actually have an app too that just came out, which I'm hoping to get a lot more information on, but you can just log right into your app and say, my flight's been delayed, and Flight Assist will deposit money immediately to your bank account and for any long delays. So again, that's all part of the policy and it comes free with anything. And also all the plans include funds for lost or delayed baggage. So emergency out-of-country medical insurance is something else that we offer. Of course, you can purchase all-inclusive and non-medical inclusive anytime before travel. So 24 hours before, 48 hours before. And another important thing to remember is if you just want the interruption, we can then not do the cancellation portion, put it at 0, and you still get all of those benefits for the interruption and misconnection, which is also a really good kind of feature that isn't really widely talked about. So for the premium protection plan, the emergency medical is 10 million, which is a fantastic coverage, bar none. You cannot find a better coverage out there. Anything else, any of the other all-inclusive, non-medical, any other medical coverage that we promote is $5 million of emergency medical. So just a couple important things to note before we go to the next slide. Hopefully everybody's still super interested. So the premium protection plan, you can only purchase this plan up until age 74. There's absolutely no medical questionnaire. So remember the benefits of the premium protection plan. You are looking at the cancel for any reason at 80% up until 24 hours of travel. And you're getting the emergency medical at 10 million as opposed to 5 million. On top of that, there are a lot of different benefits that are smaller, but they're still there, and they make it a really, really amazing value. And it's usually cheaper. Just so you know, to purchase insurance within the first 72 hours, it's usually less expensive, which is fantastic. So the all-inclusive plan, which is similar to the premium protection plan, however, doesn't have the 10 million of emergency medical, and you still do have the cancel for any reason if purchased within 72 hours. But it is only at 50% up until 2 weeks of travel. There's still no medical questionnaire, which is a giant bonus to a lot of people, because as long as you're stable within 60 days of travel, or there are certain things for different things, but as long as you're stable, you're insured, which is fantastic. So anybody over 60 who's wishing to purchase a standalone emergency medical plan, we do have a simple questionnaire that has to be completed. And to top it off, we also have a great lineup of annual, all-inclusive, and emergency annual plans. Finally, we get to the next slide. Okay. So these are some of the things that I hear all of the time, and I just wanted to kind of go through them quickly. So a lot of people have coverage through their credit card. That's fantastic. If you have credit card coverage, that's wonderful. The things that I always say to look at, if you are not sure Number one, make sure you have emergency medical. Make sure you are within the age that that emergency medical still applies to you. Number three, make sure you have cancellation insurance, not just interruption insurance. There are some cards out there that just will cover you for interruption. So those are the three things that I say just really check on. Number one, just always make sure, no matter what, you have emergency medical. That's what I always say. So the next thing that I hear all the time is I have coverage through my employer. Again, fantastic. I think that's great. If you have coverage through your employer, most employer plans, and I'm not saying all because there are some that are very, 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 very good. Most of them just have emergency medical. So if you're thinking that you're fully covered with cancellation, interruption, just take a look at your benefits plan. And you know what? I am happy to take a look and do a quick compare for you just to let you know. So we have all the coverage out there. You have credit card coverage that is only a max to a certain point. We can top that up. Make sure you're topped up. We can do that for you as well. And then it only is going to cost you a little bit, but you're fully covered. So again, if you booked your trip prior to hearing about us, we can still definitely help you with your coverage. Call or email me, and I am happy to send you a quote anytime. Thank you for joining me.
Amazing. Thank you, Lisa. Lisa has helped me out with insurance so many times, and she's super, super helpful. So like she said, she can help with your cruise insurance, but she can also help with other insurance. If you're going on a road trip and you don't have insurance and coverage, she can help with that as well. And if you've bought through someone else, and it wasn't a cruise, because we know you buy all our cruises or all your cruises through us. But if you did purchase travel through someone else, Lisa can help insure you with that as well. So she is your go-to girl for travel insurance. And next up, we are getting to the Q&A section. So we do have some questions. If there are more questions, or if you have any cruising questions, it doesn't have to be specific to Panama Canal or to insurance. Just drop them in the comments and our travel advisors will help you out. So our first question comes from Cheryl, and she asks, is there a better direction for the canal? So I'm guessing if she means short or long, but not sure.
No, so what she's referring to is like, depending on the direction that you're traveling, like the northbound cruisers are the ones that are going towards the Atlantic Ocean, whereas the southbound ones are the ones that are going towards the Pacific Ocean. So that's where the direction of travel, it really just depends on the itinerary. But when it comes to the canal itself, you are seeing the exact same thing. You are seeing the exact same landscape. You are seeing the exact same mechanical system as you're going through the locks, but it really is just going to be dictated by your itinerary and what direction of travel you're going from, as far as your start location and your finish location, if you are doing the full transit. So if you're leaving from, say, Los Angeles and you're heading through, then you are going from the Pacific Ocean northbound over to the Atlantic Ocean. Whereas if you're heading from the Atlantic Ocean, say from Miami, then you are going to be going southbound as you head through the canal system, making your way into the Pacific Ocean.
Awesome, thanks. I feel a little more informed already. So our next question is from Tanya. Actually, Tanya has two questions, and they're both for Lisa. The first one is, we have to add insurance when we book the flights as well, right? It just gets added to the cruise insurance. And the second question she has is, if I buy a one-time insurance, can I extend it to an annual plan? So I'll let you hit both of those at once.
Okay, thanks, Tanya. So yes, absolutely. I always recommend adding your flights on, unless you have purchased a separate insurance for your flights. You can always add it on. And if you add it within 72 hours, you get all the exact same benefits. Just make sure you add it on as soon as you book it. And absolutely, if you have purchased a one-time plan, we can absolutely extend it. And then the cost of that first trip will come out of the annual plan quote. Absolutely.
Perfect. All right, so we don't have a lot of questions tonight. It's because you guys are so thorough. But we'll give a minute and see if anybody has any questions. In the meantime, let's do a little poll. Where's everybody heading? Rick, where are you heading next?
Yeah, I'll be off next week, 27th. We're on the Beyond. My wife and I down in the Caribbean. So little relaxation.
Very nice. The Caribbean sounds lovely. We're heading into fall, so everybody's starting to think warm weather destinations. And I'm going to pop over to Karen. Where's your next trip taking you?
Next week, I'm heading to Mexico for a bit, and then we're heading over to Florida to do a Caribbean cruise as well. We're heading to the Southern Caribbean this time.
Very nice. I'm having a little FOMO here. How about you, Matt?
So my next big one is our hosted cruise with Virgin Voyages, where we're doing 150 clients, 150 going across the Med. So we're starting in Barcelona, Spain, traveling through France, Italy, and then ending in Greece with 3 stops in Greece. So very much looking forward to our massive group and welcoming a lot of our loyal clientele onto Virgin for the very first time.
Amazing. How about you, Lisa? Any trips planned?
You know what? I'm hoping to go to the Caribbean for Christmas during Christmas break, but that's about it so far. And then Scotland next year. My husband got Oasis tickets.
Oh, amazing.
Yeah.
Awesome. That sounds great. So as you can see, we do have a question from Bob, and I'm going to get to that in 1 second. Our travel advisors are always busy traveling and getting more experience, and most of the time they're working while they're traveling. So when they say they're away, it doesn't necessarily mean they're not working. No. they're still checking emails and everything else, but we have a ton of experience on this panel. So if you have questions, make sure you drop them into the comments. And Bob asks, I have a 15-hour stop in Panama City. Should we book excursions from the ship or from local companies on shore? So I don't know who on the panel has been to Panama City, but if someone wants to take that question, that would be great.
I would say that just by starting when you're going to shop, it's beneficial to do a lot of research on what excursions are being offered by the cruise line. Start with the cruise line because you know that they have the back to ship guarantee. They're aware of who is off the ship with their scheduled vendors that they offer for the shore excursions. And then you have that assurances. If you want to look outside of that and you start looking at outside companies, the first thing that I would verify is that the vendor that you are dealing with has a back to ship guarantee. So you want to make sure that you are protected, that in the event that something goes wrong on your shore excursion and you can't get back, they are looking after you to make sure that you get back to the ship at some point on another port stop. So for instance, we have the Shore Excursions group, I believe they're called. They're on our website. If you go on to vacationsforcanadians.com and you look under extras for Shore Excursions group are a fantastic company that we have on our website, and you can literally put in your ship and sail date and it'll break it down by the cruise ports that you're visiting and give you a list of all the different excursions that they offer, just like you would if you were on your different websites for the different cruise lines or looking on your cruise planner on your apps. It'll give you the exact same breakdown of all the vendors that they have, and they offer that same back to ship guarantee. So you can have confidence in booking with them to hit some of those different vendors. And the fantastic part about having 15 hours there is that you have more than enough time to do multiple. So you have a plethora of time to be able to see a lot in one visit.
That's fantastic. Thank you, Matt. That was great. So our next question comes from Jackie, and I think this one is to Lisa. She asks, if we were taking Air Canada, would it be better to get a refundable from them or mutual insurance?
Oh, good question. It always depends on the price, I feel. So I am always happy to do a quick compare for you. And if you already have a package purchased for your cruise, I would say it's probably better to add it on to the entire package. But again, I'm happy to do a compare for you so you can kind of see what's best for your situation.
Amazing. Lisa is always so helpful. Our next question is from Christine, and she asks, we are on the Beyond with Tina. We have an excursion at Panama Canal, Culbercut excursion. How does that excursion work? Is anyone familiar with that one?
No, I was just looking it up to try and see if I could give a better answer about how it works. Unfortunately, I haven't read fast enough to be able to answer it, but I do see that there are actually multiple cruise lines that do offer that excursion. So it is a common option. I don't know, Rick?
No, I haven't been on that one, so I can't. We can research it for you and get back to you. I'm not familiar.
I can reach out to you though, Christine. I'll be happy to follow up on that. I can read a little bit into what exactly Celebrity offers. I'm getting some of the reading on here about how there's a ferry involved and that it actually takes you to where the excursion portion is done. So I can get a little bit more information from the Celebrity side of things, and I'd be happy to reach out to you, Christine.
Great. That's amazing. Thank you so much, Matt. Jackie also said, can we look at the excursions for February 2025?
Oh, to touch on the excursions for Tina's sailing? Because that's when she's sailing, is February 2025. I'm assuming that's what she's talking about. So again, it's going to Cartagena in Colombia, as well as Cologne. That's after it does its transit through the Panama Canal and then the ABC Islands. So I know from talking to people, every time they go to Bonaire, the biggest thing is trying to rent the golf carts, and that there's only one vendor that offers them, so they go quickly. So anybody who's trying to get around and see all of Bonaire, the biggest thing is trying to get those golf cart rentals, because there is only one company and they go quickly. But you can see a lot of that island when you have that mode of transportation. As far as the other ones, I'm going to pull up the cruise planner real quick if there are any other questions, or if we just have some.
Yeah, Matt, I believe the question might be talking about that website you're referring to, the shore excursions.
So as far as the company goes, so Linda was kind enough to share the link because she's much faster at any of this than I could possibly be. But on the link there, if you see it in the chat, and she's shared it on all of our profiles, that is the link that takes you right to the shore excursions from our website. So I've actually used this on my own sailings when I have been there. You see it right there. And when you go in there is filters built into it where you can literally pick your ship and sail date. So when you go into the shore excursions group, then you can put in the name of your ship, cruise line, then the name of your ship. So if you put in there Celebrity, and then you put in the Beyond, and then it'll literally give you every sailing date for the Beyond for the next couple of years. And so you can just go right in there, pick February 24th, the 11-night sailing, and then click search. And then it'll literally break it down by sailing day. It'll give you every port that they're visiting. And then you just click on the tab, say, if you want to shop an excursion in Cartagena, you just go to February 27th when they're in Cartagena, click on view excursions, and it'll give you every one that's offered. And these are all in Canadian funds. So that's the great part about it, because some of the vendors obviously work in USD. So then you're doing currency conversions and things like that. This is all done in Canadian funds. So it's a really great tool that we offer to you through our website. And there are some savings built in there. So just like with the cruise lines, when they discount the shore excursions in advance when you purchase them, same with these websites. They can offer you savings on some of them, which is a great option for you, because once you get on board, if you make that decision once you're on board, you are paying full price, and you are paying in the onboard currency of the ship, which in most instances is US dollars. So I cannot stress enough about booking in advance, whether it be with the cruise line or with one of these third-party companies like Shore Excursions Group, which I highly recommend because they are so well laid out. Resort for a Day is a really great one for like the ABC Islands when you want to see if there are some of these resorts that are offered at these different great tropical locations. Then you can get a day pass to those resorts and be able to use the amenities that are offered there. So, for instance, Margaritaville, right there, that's perfect. That's in Nassau, Bahamas. I literally was just there in July. So perfect example because we went right there. So you can do the same thing, shop your ship and sail dates, and then you can see which options are out there to add on to your sailing. So there you go. Perfect example. So there's some fantastic Riu properties are absolutely stunning. Aruba is one of those unique locations where there's actually restrictions on how they build the hotel properties that are there. They can only be so high, so many levels to their properties. So you know that you're not going to have too much of a disrupted vantage point of the landscape in Aruba because there are restrictions on how high these resorts can be built, which is a fantastic method employed by the government there to restrict these gigantic structures that just limit your visibility to see all of the island.
So thank you for that, and hopefully that helped you. And we've got the link in there, so that'll bring you to the shore excursions page, and both resorts for a day and shore excursions, plus some other preferred vendors are on there. So you should be able to find what you're looking for. And then we had a question from Jill, who said, and I think all of our travel advisors can answer this one, any deals for Canadians for Royal Caribbean looking for April?
Yeah, Jill, I would say just reach out to sales at Vacations for Canadians, and one of us will gladly get back to you with some. We have tons of deals, whether it be Royal Caribbean, Celebrity, Princess, or otherwise. And it all depends on the size of your group and when you want to travel and all that. So it's best to dialogue with one of our agents, and we'll package up the ideal cruise just for you.
Yep. The other option too is on our website. You can see I'm sharing the screen for cruise deals. You can actually sort by a number. Now, these are just our posted deals, which are just a small fraction of the deals that we have available. We can't post everything that we have. And, you know, if you don't see the itinerary or the dates or exactly what you're looking for, any of our agents will be happy to help you. But if you want to just do a little research and see what's available that we've posted, you can go to our website. You can look for Royal Caribbean. You can look for the month that you want to go. Sorry, I have to peek back when you said April. So if you want to look for April, and then you want to look for 2025, and it'll filter the current deals that we have available. Again, these are all based on availability. So not necessarily they should be available, but they sell out. So if what you're looking for, what you see here isn't available, or you don't see exactly what you're looking for, any of our agents are happy to help you with that. So another good spot on our website to do some research if you don't want to sort of filter through our Facebook group. I'll show that one. Great job, Karen. Going to Europe. All right. So I think that brings us to the end of our Q&A. I don't see any more questions there, but as always, we appreciate everybody joining us tonight. Be sure to invite your friends and tell them what a great resource it is. We bring our travel advisors on. They do this on their time to share their experience and their knowledge with you and to answer your questions. And just that's a big part of what Vacations for Canadians is that personalized service, that connection, that experience, that expertise that we have. Everybody is a huge cruiser here. So as you heard, most of them are leaving within the next weeks to months to go on yet another cruise. So they're out there experiencing these cruise lines. and they want to bring all that experience back. So, you know, as someone who has only done one cruise and never cruised before I joined this team, I have to say every day I'm blown away by the amount of knowledge and with this group of travel advisors. So if you have questions, even if there's not a chat, feel free to reach out to us. We're always happy to help. And with that, I'm going to do a draw. And tonight, because my camera's not working, you won't be able to see it, but we're going to do a draw for a baseball hat.
Yeah, don't leave before the draw. For those that are already thanking us for all the great information, don't leave before the best part, which is the prize.
That's right. So we are going to switch over to my giveaway.
What are we giving away?
We're giving away a baseball hat. I can't show you because my camera is all winky.
And I'm not wearing mine.
You're not wearing yours.
I know.
So we're going to draw. We're going to do the draw. If it comes up with anybody who works for us, who has commented, we'll just skip on to the next person. But good luck, all. Hey, John! Congratulations! You have a snazzy baseball hat to wear.
Wait, did you get someone different? Because mine's showing Vacations for Canadians one.
No, it said John.
Oh,
but I
okay.
can do it again.
No. Give it to John.
Give it to
John Devlin.
All right. I saw John, and then it popped up with Winter Vacations for Canadians, but I swear it said John. All right. Well, thank you, everyone. And we'll be back next Wednesday. We'll be sure to post our topics coming up. And as always, if there's something that you're interested in learning more about, be sure to drop a comment in our Facebook group or any of the platforms that you follow us on, and we'll be happy to make sure we touch on those. Thanks all, and have a great night.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Good night, everyone.